Our story begins with Akari, the hottest girl in school, praying for a good partner in upcoming marriage practical. Marriage practical is a part of her school curriculum in which one male and female students randomly paired to live together as fake married couple. Then we see Zero, a high school nerd who is playing video games on stairs with his only friend in school. Just then Akari comes with her two friends and shouts at Zero to move away from the stairs. After she is gone, Zero comments he doesn't like her and never wants to get involved with her. Then we see the coolest guy in school, Minami, and Akari has a huge crush on him. Later in class, we see Zero talking to a cute girl named Shiori, his childhood friend and his first love. As the class begins, the teacher explains how marriage practical will be conducted. From today, each one of them will live with a partner in the training dorm. Every room has cameras to continuously monitor their actions. With this, the teacher ended her explanation. Zero wants to be paired with his crush Shiori, and for good luck the nerd plays a video game. But it turns out he is paired with Akari, and she is very angry with him. Zero also doesn't want to be paired with her, but he can't even show his frustration. Akari already knows Zero has a crush on Shiori, and they both argue a little, but it leads to them losing 3 points. This frustrates Akari because she wants to increase their points so she can pair with Minami. Zero has no idea what she is talking, so she gives him marriage practical manual. According to the manual, once a month A-rank students can change their pairing among themselves. Akari believes Minami will easily achieve A rank, and she wants to get A rank to change partners. But for this they have to get closer to each other, and Zero doesn't think he can do anything like that with Akari. But Akari wants points so she gets closer to Zero, but he can't handle her hotness. And they get 1+ point, so Akari wants to continue doing this, but Zero had enough, so he goes to buy things outside. Akari gets sad, she doesn't want another girl to spend time with Minami. And she feels embarrassed, because she doesn't have experience with boys either. Outside, Zero sees Shiori with Minami. Shiori tells Minami she is happy to be paired with him. Hearing this, Zero runs away from there. Zero gets depressed, so Akari tries to cheer him up. She tells him to seriously pretend to be married, so they can change partners. But Zero tells her he is not as experienced as her. Akari doesn't like his attitude, she tells him not to give up before trying. Then Zero's friend came to call him. As Zero was heading out, Akari asked him to give her a goodbye kiss. Zero panics after hearing about the kiss, so Akari makes fun of him. Then Zero kisses Akari on the lips, and leaves to play video games. But Akari only wanted the kiss on the cheeks. 1 week later, Zero again sees Shiori coming to school with Minami. Seeing them getting close, Zero again gets depressed. He notices Shiori is not paying any attention to him. He starts crying thinking about the growing friendship between Shiori and Minami. When it was time to head home, it started raining. Zero has no umbrella, so he has to wait. Then Akari comes there and tells him she is going to karaoke with Minami. Zero tries to stop her, informing her the teacher asked them to meet together for marriage practical. But she tells him to handle it without her. After this, Zero sits alone in school and thinks Akari is having a blast with Minami. Then Zero sees Shiori, who is late because she had a committee meeting today. She sits with Zero and tells him she also forgot her umbrella. Then Shiori suddenly hugs Zero and tells him she mistook the doodle on the wall for a bug. Zero realizes when Shiori hugged Minami she was actually afraid of bugs. Shiori tells him she feels lonely and wants him to call her by the first name. Zero is completely puzzled by her sudden request. As he tries to call her by her first name, Minami appears there with an umbrella. After Shiori is gone, Zero sits alone in darkness waiting for rain to stop. Then his fate takes an unexpected turn and Akari comes to pick him up. As they head home, Zero wonders if they should go to the market to buy dinner, but Akari has some other plans for him. The girl prepared delicious omelette rice for him, she even helped him with the ketchup. Zero wants to thank her by feeding her with his hands. As Akari stands up to take a bite, she realizes they are close to each other. After the dinner, both Akari and Zero do not understand why their hearts are pounding for each other. Later at night, Akari wakes Zero because she wants to watch a horror movie but is afraid to watch it alone. She believes it will help them reach the A rank. But Zero doesn't think it will work and he turns off the TV. Akari then wants him to wear pajamas she bought for him. And then she tells him to face other ways so she can change the pajamas. Zero feels awkward as she is changing her pajama next to him. Suddenly the electricity gets cut and everything becomes dark. Akari drops a bomb on Zero's heart as she gets extremely close to him, and Zero thinks Akari is afraid so he turns on his phone light. Zero sees Akari is crying like a 2-year-old toddler, and embarrassingly tells him to turn off the light. They use phone lights to light the room. Akari sits so close to Zero that it is uncomfortable for him. Akari demands he tells a funny story. Zero tries to tell one but he turns it into a horror story. Akari holds his hand and reminds him they are alone in the room. Zero gets absolutely nervous by this. He thinks she is messing with him. They then light an aromatherapy candle. After its fragrance spreads in the room, Zero becomes romantic and he hugs Akari. Then he realized his mistake but felt safe because Akari is in sleep. Zero holds her hand and calls her cute. But Akari wasn't sleeping and she heard his words. Next day they find out their scores have significantly improved but Minami and Shiori ranked E. After that day Zero started worrying about Shiori but he has no guts to ask her directly. One day Zero gets sick and Akari has gone to hang out with her friends. He dreams of Shiori taking care of him. Then he hears the doorbell and sees Shiori has come to meet him. As Shiori puts a bandage on his head, she reminds him of a childhood memory when he came to her house to take care of her. Shiori goes to cook meal for him and Zero remembers the day when Shiori had to transfer to another school. Zero wanted to confess his love but before he could do that Shiori asked him to be his friend. Zero could not confess his feelings because he thought she wanted him just as a friend. Then Shiori asks him if he can eat the rice porridge she made for him. Stupid Zero eats the porridge with his own hand, then he realized he could have asked her to feed him. Zero then asks about her and Minami getting E on exam. She tells him she feels uncomfortable around boys and puts distance between them. Then she jokes if her husband was him, she would not feel uncomfortable. Hearing this, Zero excitedly grabs her hand and tells her to do her best. Later at evening when Zero is sleeping, Shiori confesses she likes his actions. She comes close to kiss Zero but she stops, thinking this isn't right as they are not married yet. After Shiori leaves, Akari comes back to the house. As she is taking baths, Zero tells her he is going to do his best so she can pair with Minami. But for some unknown reason Akari is not happy to hear this. Next day Akari asks Zero what type of girl boys like, and he tells her, a girl who cooked them food for them with love. So Akari cooks food for Minami, and she asks Zero to taste the food and she even packs him a lunchbox. Akari comes to meet Zero and asks about the lunchbox. Zero is impressed by her food. Next day, Akari is preparing a lunchbox for Minami. When Zero feels hungry, she feeds him with her hands. Akari is ready with her lunchbox to head out, and Zero feels jealous that Akari wearing something special for Minami. As she is about to leave, she asks Zero to give her the goodbye kiss. Zero gets nervous, he remembers his kiss with Akari. As he is about to kiss her, Shiori rings the doorbell. Shiori gives them her handmade apple pie, she made them because Minami likes sweet things. Hearing this, Akari feels sad because she didn't prepare any sweet things in the lunchbox. After Shiori leaves, Akari ends up giving it to Zero. Seeing Akari sad, Zero tries to cheer her up by saying she is beautiful and has a very appealing body. Hearing this, Akari gets close to Zero, and she asks him what kind of thing he wants to do with her. In the heat of the moment, Akari grabs his hand and she starts removing her cloth. Zero realizes this is wrong and he stops Akari going any further. Akari is puzzled by his behavior. He explains this should be done with someone she loves. Akari gets away from Zero, and she asks him to end their relationship. Since that day, Akari stopped meeting with Zero, and Zero doesn't understand why he did that. But he felt sad and lonely. When the exam results come, Minami and Shiori improve their rank, but Zero and Akari are ranked E. Shiori feels sad that they again cannot change partners. While using urine, Zero thinks about that day when Akari asked him to do it. But he remembers her hand was shaking and he realized she also doesn't have any experience. Outside he meets Shiori, who asks him to talk in private. They come to the rooftop. Shiori asks if he had a fight with Akari. Zero replies they had a fight because of his mistake, and since then Akari is avoiding him. Hearing that Shiori has a smile on her face, she tells him everything will be fine to cheer him up. When Zero comes home, he knocks on Akari's door. When Akari opens the door, she invites him to her room. Inside the room, Zero notices Akari is ignoring him. Zero apologizes to Akari for turning her down that day. But Akari doesn't want to remember anything about that day. The weird loser tells her on the face that he has wild fantasies about her every night. Like any normal girl, this makes her uncomfortable, and she calls him stupid. But Zero continued that he stopped her because he wanted to treat her with more care. Zero again apologizes and asks to give him a chance. Akari quietly listens to him. He then goes ahead and tells her that he wants to become her husband. Akari begins to laugh at him for his desperate proposal. She says they are already married and only school can break their relationship. Zero is embarrassed that Akari was lying to him about their breakup. Then Akari pulls Zero and she tells him she begins to like him. Zero is puzzled by this. He tries to kiss her. But she tells him it was just a joke. Seeing Akari's smile, Zero is happy everything became normal between them. Later, when Akari is alone, she is surprised that she could tell him about her feelings. Like and share this video for second part.